Hello and good morning everyone. This is the story of how I became a Christian. I was born at the start of the swinging 60s, the fourth surviving child of 5 siblings, the only female. My parents were Christians, themselves from Christian families. Both had served in World War II, Mum in the catering corps and Dad in Africa. As a family, we attended a local Baptist church where we lived in Brixton, South London. I did not know until much later in my life that my arrival was the result of a second try after my dad had left home for a while a few years before, after being unfaithful. My earliest memories include Dad coming home on a Friday night with a bar of chocolate for each of the kids, going to bed to the sound of my parents quarrelling. I did not know why. I found out later that he had gambled the rest of his pay away on Friday and had nothing to give Mum for the housekeeping the following week. Soon after my 4th birthday, my dad left home a second and last time. Actually, Mum sent him away, having found an incriminating letter that indicated he had continued the affair that had begun years before. Dad set up home with his partner, a woman who herself was in church ministry and mother of 2 teenage boys. At first, my mum did not let me see my dad, and my dad had to get a court order to be allowed to see me. I saw him every other weekend and parts of school holidays. I would stand by the window on alternate Fridays, waiting for him and sobbing. I did not want to leave my mum. On Sunday afternoons at his house, I would pack my things at my dad's home and sobbed as I did not want to leave my dad. We settled on Auntie as the name I would call his partner. It was a strange situation. They lived as Christians, read their Bible and prayed every day. Dad was a pianist and composed many hymns, was always playing or listening to Christian music. I had all the hallmarks of being a child in what they called, in those days, from a broken home. I struggled to leave my mother by day, slept alongside her at night until I was 12, sleepwalked regularly. Recurrent nightmares were always with the theme of looking for Dad, watching for the car. During my early childhood, I was very unwell. I didn't really thrive and was quite sickly. I couldn't hear and had impacted ear canals due to years of infected tonsils. I ate hardly anything and lived on Tizer and snacking bar 6s. Most other foods made me sick. We had no money, but my mum worked hard at whatever work she could get, which was mostly cleaning offices at 4 a.m. in the morning and back home to see the kids off to school before cleaning people's homes during the day. My baby brother, the youngest of my 3 brothers, had a Saturday job in the Brixton market and came home with a box of unsold fruit and veg, which would do as the best part of the week. People were kind. Turkeys that we did not order were delivered on our doorstep at Christmas times, and I don't ever remember being short of food. The books I had at home were all Christian stories. The earliest one I remember was The Lost Sheep, based on the Bible story. Mum could not bring herself to continue at the Baptist church as she felt embarrassed at the situation with Dad leaving. But we went along to a mission hall and I remember standing on the seat next to her, singing along beside other enthusiastic worshippers. So both Mum and Dad were still positive Christian influences, Dad's music and Mum's unfailing resilience and faithful praise of God in and out of church. Mum was hospitable and our home was always full of people. Friends of my brothers who were older than me, women's friends of my mum's, people's babies were left with my mum to look after them for the day. All sorts went on. It was busy, loud, but we had a lot of love and laughter. At 8, I had my tonsils removed and my health improved from then on. We moved to a house in Tooting, southwest London, and it was here that Mum felt ready to be involved in church again. My mum and dad had been married at the church we then attended. I had extended family there and we settled well. My brothers had all given up on God by then, but that's not the end of their story. I loved weekly Sunday school and really enjoyed the lessons about Jesus. Each year at church we had a Sunday school anniversary service. One of these, I think I was about 9, had a talk about 3 hearts: a sinful heart, a heart of love, and a clean heart. The basic talk was that a sinful heart needs Jesus' red heart of love so that it can become a clean heart before God. This really affected me, and I became aware that my heart was sinful. I was 9. I had not really done anything significantly wrong, but God had touched my heart and my tender conscience, and I was troubled. Soon after this, my father became ill and was in and out of hospital. I continued to visit him when he was well enough. He was 51 when he died, and I was 11 years old. I already knew I was a broken child. Now my life seemed pulled to pieces. Dad died in July, and I went on a Girls' Brigade camp to the Isle of Wight in August. We slept on bags of hay for mattresses called palliasses. It was in a drafty church hall. We had Bible talks each day. The last talk of the week was about hell or heaven. I knew and understood the reality of someone unexpectedly dying and being faced with the prospect of meeting God. I was led to trust in Jesus that Friday night by someone going through the motions and just reading the Bible verses with me. But I was transformed. My heart became alive. I was excited. I knew I was forgiven because Jesus had died on the cross. I realised that being a Christian was not about my mother's faith, my father's songs, but about my own heart and soul being completely committed to God because of Jesus and what he did on the cross for me, bearing the punishment for sin that I deserve. I did not want to go to hell. I wanted to live with God forever where he is, to have his eternal life with me. This year, I'll be 61, if God tarries. 50 years of following Jesus. I cannot say that I've always been faithful to him. I cannot say that I've been the best I could be as God's servant. But I can say that he has carried me on his shoulders and kept me in his fold. I can say that he has been faithful to me all my days. There's a couple of verses that have been precious to me lately. I read them the other day in a prayer time in our praise and prayer on Sunday night. Deuteronomy 33, verses 26 and 27a. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides across the heavens to help you, and on the clouds in his majesty. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. I also heard a song the other day, and I'm going to share that with you now. City Alight lyrics. So this should play in just a minute.